Yeah, he had a great run, and it's fun to watch. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I was watching a lot of basketball.
Okay, so Larry Bird just totally broke the internet, right? He dropped this huge statement about the whole Marina Mabrey and Caitlin Clark situation. Everyone knows Bird is usually pretty chill and to the point, so when he spoke up, it really got people talking. He wasn't just talking about a basketball play either. He was talking about something deeper, like what real competition and respect mean for women's basketball. And get this, nobody expected him to jump in, but when he did, the whole basketball world stopped. He basically said out loud what a lot of us were already thinking. There's a big difference between playing tough basketball and just being ugly about it. It all started after that super tense game. Mabrey, who's known for being intense, clashed with Clark, and it wasn't just a regular heated moment. It was something that made even veteran players cringe. Replays showed what a lot of people called a cheap shot. Now, everyone had an opinion, but when Bird, the legend, weighed in, the whole conversation changed. This wasn't just some random commentator. This was Larry Bird, someone who played through everything and never had to play dirty, and he called Mabrey's move weak, not tough. He even said that back in his day, you'd face someone like a warrior if you had a problem, not wait until their back was turned. That was a thunderclap statement. And what's crazy is Mabrey then doubled down, basically saying damned if I do, damned if I don't. For Bird, that was the final straw. He said true champions take responsibility. They don't hide behind excuses. He even compared her behavior to players who can't compete at the highest level, so they resort to dragging the game down. The debate blew up online, with some defending Mabrey and others siding with Bird. But one thing was clear, Bird wasn't being mean, he was just showing his love for the game. He's seen it all, and he knows true greatness isn't about cheap shots. It's about honor and respecting the game. So now everyone's wondering, was this the wake-up call women's basketball needed, or did the legend go too far? Either way, Bird's words definitely carried some serious weight, and for Mabrey, this could totally define her legacy. When Bird speaks, you listen. That buzz around Bird's comments, it just kept getting louder. Everyone on social media was talking, analysts were weighing in, and fans were debating every single word he said about Caitlin Clark. It's rare to see a legend like Bird step into a current player's story, but when he does, the whole sports world pays attention. And this time, he dropped some serious truth bombs that left everyone stunned. What he really loves about Clark isn't just her talent, it's these super rare, almost unteachable qualities that make her special. Bird said he sees his own fire and vision in her. He called the way she reads the court otherworldly, and her shooting under pressure just defies logic. Plus, she makes everyone around her better, which Bird thinks is what separates the real basketball geniuses from the rest. But it wasn't all praise. He also had some deep concerns. He talked about all the physical targeting and cheap shots Clark faces at just 22 years old, calling it the weakest kind of competition. To him, it's not tough defense, it's a troubling pattern where players use aggression as a shortcut because they can't compete on skill. He even mentioned Marina Mabrey's physical play, saying it's a sign of something bigger in the women's game. They're trying to out-hit her, not outwork her, he said. That's desperation. What's more, Bird's words carry weight because he's been there. He faced plenty of elbows and trash talk himself, but he stressed that Clark is dealing with way more pressure than he ever did, both from opponents and from the massive spotlight that follows her everywhere. Yet she keeps her cool and focused. He said she's dealing with more at 22 than some players deal with in their entire careers, and that's what makes her special. He also challenged the WNBA directly. He asked if the league is really doing enough to protect its star. He worried that allowing targeting sends a bad message, that rough play can somehow substitute for hard work. And that's not just bad for stars like Clark, but for young kids watching too. Kids should be learning skill and heart, not how to take cheap shots, he warned. The most powerful part was when he looked to the future. He believes every shove and foul is actually shaping Clark into something unstoppable. Pressure reveals character, he said, and Caitlin's character is He compared her to his own past, but admitted what she's facing is on another level. She's the face of the movement, he said, not just a team. So while others try to knock her down, Bird believes she's building something bigger. Her response to adversity is poise and precision. Each time she gets fouled hard, she just answers with another amazing shot. Ultimately, Bird's message was a warning and a celebration all at once. If the league doesn't protect players like Clark, it risks losing the very spirit that's driving women's basketball to new heights. But if they do, then maybe, just maybe, Clark will change the game forever, just like Bird did. This wasn't just about nostalgia for him, it was about purpose. So, Larry Bird actually broke his silence. Everyone was surprised because he's been away from the court for so long. But when he finally spoke up, the whole basketball world stopped to listen. This isn't a guy who just talks to talk. He built his legacy on toughness, smarts, and precision. So when he weighed in on the recent Marina Mabrey and Caitlin Clark incident, it was way more than just commentary. It was like a judgment from one of the purest competitors the game has ever seen. Look, Bird has truly seen it all. Back in the 80s, he was in those legendary battles against guys like Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman, players who used physicality like a weapon. But even through all that chaos, Bird understood a code: play hard, but play fair. He never backed down from contact, but he always knew where the line was. That's why his reaction to Mabrey's shove really shocked fans and analysts. When Bird saw Mabrey push Clark from behind right after Clark got poked in the eye, his words were super sharp. He called it the most cowardly act he'd seen in decades. Coming from Bird, who survived the roughest era of the NBA, that wasn't just an insult. It was a total condemnation. For him, basketball was never about cheap shots. It's about skill, resilience, and mental toughness. He outsmarted opponents. He didn't just muscle them. So when he saw what happened to Clark, he wasn't just criticizing a moment. He was defending the very soul of the game itself. But here's the thing that made his statement even more impactful: his timing. Bird didn't jump into the social media frenzy. He waited. He watched how the story unfolded, how fans debated, and how some tried to downplay it. Then calmly and clearly, he drew a line, separating real competition from just empty aggression. And when Larry Bird draws a line, you know it stays drawn. It's really rare to see a legend this private come back to comment on today's game. But his decision to do it hints at something deeper. Maybe he's worried about where modern basketball is headed. Has the fire of competition turned into something else entirely? Has player respect faded away because everyone's chasing viral moments? Bird's words have definitely reignited those questions. And whether you agree with him or not, one thing's for sure: when Larry Bird speaks, the basketball world listens. His unexpected voice changed everything, turning whispers into huge headlines and sparking a debate nobody saw coming. Seriously, who thought Larry Bird would step into this whole storm? The talk about Caitlin Clark and Marina Mabrey was already blowing up social media. But when he finally spoke, he didn't just defend Clark, he totally changed the whole conversation. His words just carry so much weight, you know? It's that authority of a legend, a guy who's lived through every single bruise and challenge in the game. For Bird, this wasn't just about one player or one moment. It was about the whole spirit of basketball, the respect, discipline, and integrity he helped build the game on. And when he looked at Caitlin Clark, he saw more than just an amazing scorer. He saw this generational force, someone truly forged in the fire of all this criticism and expectation. By the time Bird's comments hit, the internet was already wild with speculation. Clips of Clark's clashes were viral, headlines were arguing over fouls, and every talk show was buzzing. But Bird didn't join the noise. Instead, he cut right through it. He reminded everyone that true greatness isn't about how hard you hit someone, but how you rise up when you get hit hard. He even looked back at his own early NBA days, when veterans tested him every night. He recalled them wanting to see if he'd break, but he said the tougher it got, the more he learned to play his own smart, relentless game, always with respect. That same resilience, he believes, is what makes Caitlin Clark so special. Every shove, every foul, every attempt to get under her skin, it just makes her stronger. But he didn't stop there. His sharpest words were for what he called a dangerous trend: players using cheap shots just to get attention. Even if he didn't name anyone, it was clear he was talking about the heated exchanges with Mabrey. Bird warned that if the league tolerates that behavior, it sends a really damaging message to fans and young athletes. Kids are watching, he emphasized. They should be learning teamwork, respect, and skill, not how to get away with dirty play. That really struck a chord. Some wondered if he wanted the WNBA to protect its stars like the NBA once did, while others thought he was being too soft. But Bird's message was crystal clear: competition is one thing, but cruelty is another. And the timing of his comments, super significant. By 2025, Clark was more than a rookie. She was the face of a movement, breaking records and drawing huge viewership. She's a symbol of how far women's basketball has come, but with that fame comes intense scrutiny. Bird understood that pressure better than anyone. He turned it into fuel, emerging stronger. That's why his defense of Clark resonated so deeply. He wasn't just backing a young star, he was protecting what he believed was the true essence of basketball: grit, grace, and growth. He also hinted that the WNBA has a massive choice ahead: protect its brightest talents, or risk losing what makes the game beautiful. In Bird's eyes, players like Clark carry the league's future. They inspire fans and raise the standard. But that growth, he warned, only lasts if fairness and respect are at its core. Ultimately, Bird's words became so much more than just a viral interview. They were a statement about his legacy, Clark's legacy, and the game's legacy. For many, it was a reminder of why we all fell in love with basketball, not just for the highlights, but for the courage and character behind them. And maybe that's why this story is so powerful. Bird didn't speak for attention or nostalgia. He did it because he recognized something so familiar in Caitlin Clark: that relentless drive that just refuses to dim, no matter how tough the storm gets. To him, that's not just talent. That's the kind of greatness that keeps the soul of basketball alive. Okay, so it was more than just admiration from Bird. It was a serious warning, but delivered with total respect. What's crazy is how Bird's powerful message ignited a conversation the whole basketball world just couldn't ignore. People are saying, this could be the moment that changes the WNBA forever. Larry Bird's words didn't just echo, they struck a nerve that's still buzzing everywhere. In locker rooms, newsrooms, and with every fan. When he spoke out about the WNBA's rising tensions, he wasn't trying to start drama. He was sounding an alarm. He felt like something truly sacred about the game was at stake. His message wasn't just about one foul or one rivalry. It was about what the league risks becoming if it forgets what made basketball so beautiful in the first place. This all really started after that super-heated game where Caitlin Clark, who's the league's biggest new star, became the target of repeated physical play, especially from Marina Mabrey. Bird didn't hold back. He called out what he saw as a really troubling trend. He warned that if players like Mabrey keep using rough tactics to get attention or disrupt superstars without any consequences, the league could be heading down a dangerous path. To Bird, that wasn't just unsportsmanlike, it was a threat to the future of women's basketball itself. His defense of Clark went way beyond just admiring her talent. Bird spoke from the perspective of someone who lived through intense professional basketball battle. He even remembered his own rookie season in 1979, when veterans tried to rattle him every single night, testing if he had the toughness to survive. "Every hit made me sharper," he once recalled. And that's exactly how he sees Clark. She's tough, totally unshaken, and she just rises higher every time she gets knocked down. Bird's comments hit even deeper because they came at a time when the WNBA is truly at a crossroads. In 2024, the league saw record-breaking attendance and viewership, a lot of it thanks to Clark. But with that spotlight came intense scrutiny, new rivalries, and some growing frustration from players who felt overshadowed by her sudden fame. Bird's question wasn't about favoritism, it was about protecting the game. He told the league that they finally have a global star, so they should nurture her, not expose her to unnecessary risks. Now, Bird's words weren't all criticism, though. He praised Clark's poise, calling her a generational talent built for pressure, someone whose success could elevate the entire sport. But behind that praise was a serious challenge to the WNBA itself. Does the league choose to become a platform for respect, skill, and leadership, or will it let resentment and reckless play totally erode its credibility? Because in Bird's eyes, this isn't just about one rivalry, it's about the very soul of the game. The WNBA has this rare, amazing opportunity to define its legacy. Will it be a league built on greatness, or one that just lets chaos take over the court? And as this debate keeps going, one question is louder than ever. Will the league truly listen before it's too late? So what do you think made Bird's comments about Marina Mabrey and Caitlin Clark spread like wildfire? Was he defending something or exposing something deeper? We really want to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.